Welcome, race fans, to a showcase of driving perfection. My name's Webbo, and let's get down trackside. Hold on tight, we're gonna go for it. Boom, that's how it's done. Whoa, easy. Surely not all the way around the outside. Oh yeah, we're cooking now. Shake and bake, baby. Shake and bake. This is a roller coaster of emotions. The drivers are pushing their machines to the limit and beyond. Ooh, it doesn't get any better than that. Wait for the lights, the revs build and so does the excitement. And it's drop the clutch and go, go, go! Okay driver, it's hammer time. This driver is an artist and the racetrack is their canvas. Did you see that? Did you see that? Wow! Let's watch it again. Ooh, hopefully they'll get away with that one. What a great start, and it looks like we can build on this now and really make a good race of it. There's the fastest lap, folks. No mercy on the menu today. Yeah, sideways is rarely ever faster, but you do get style points. And we roll the safety car dice. Leave them alone. They know what they're doing. Someone's gone bowling into turn one. What a shocker. Moving left, jinking right. Keep them guessing. Lawn mowing as a side gig. And we go down the inside, Danny Rick style. We're on the edge of our seats here, folks. The racers are pushing their limits, risking it all for that coveted first place position and the all-important win. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Two cars ahead are fighting with each other. It's slowing them down. And through we go! That driver is a complete and total. A word has not been invented to describe how complete and total they are. But they are one, and a complete and total one at that. And it all comes down to this, the final lap. If you smell what this driver is cooking. This seems like as good a time as any to ask if you subscribe yet. Your Grand Slam, pole, fastest lap, and the win! Welcome back, folks, to Deviant Racing League. It's been an absolute age since we've been here on the channel, and we're at Laguna, Seca for the next round, round 3
of the GTD Championship Season 4.1. I hope everybody's well enough to enjoy some racing with us anyway. And good evening to, well, especially to Alexandra, who's been with us for several hours, and to Yank as well, who tunes in, and hopefully we'll see Yank out on track soon. I'm enjoying the fact that there's a Super Bowl special livery here, and we'll get into those liveries later on, and that's a bad sign. Host has ended the game, unfortunately. I'll just check out the driver chat room, because that's not how we want things to begin with us here at all. Let's see what I can do. I need to make sure then that I sort everything out. Bear with us, and hopefully we will get everybody back here. It said host has ended the game, but I don't know if anybody else is having the same problems that I am. Looks like we might have been restarted, but no one else is really complaining in the driver chat room. That looked fairly terminal from my end, but hopefully we'll be back. And I've done lots of hard work to try and make sure that our liveries are working. And unfortunately, that's been undone slightly there from everybody. So let's have a look if we can actually get those. I think everybody has just everyone was kicked and they're all on their way back in. I've done what I can do to get everybody's liveries showing, but unfortunately a late change like that to let somebody in, says Lareth, that's what's happening. So it was, I think, just the joining us from GTD Cup, Mr. Fishoda, who is trying to join in and may have been in the wrong car. There's a rumour that he'd gone in the wrong Genesis, so sneaking his way into the wrong car there. Hopefully these things happen when you're debuting in the series, and hopefully things will get sorted out now. This is Maxwell coming back to us, and it's great to have Maxwell back. Welcome back to him. I feel a bit cheeky welcoming him back as he's been here much longer than I have, but taking a brief sabbatical from us, and thankfully back with us and racing for Team America here in the Stars and Stripe today. It seems they've gone for, well, I guess white and red constitutes stripes, but just the two stripes here. The right colour scheme for his nationality as well. Just want to check everybody's liveries are working a-okay. So Pentes Libertas, no step on Sneck, we will see. Mr. Fishoda just trying to get his number on the car correctly as well, and we'll just get everything on screen so I can see where everybody is for us. We only have the one car out on track at the moment. Looks like Thrasher is on his way out as well. And I think I just need to check whether qualifying has officially started. It has not officially started, so there is time for me to talk about the leaderboard. Leaderboard at the moment. I actually need to open up the correct leaderboard for that. Going into the wrong channel for a moment there. So the GTD World Cup Season 4.1. This is the second tier in comparison to the GTD Pro. Sees Arcane on top with almost a maximum point score, a win and a fastest lap. He has 41 points overall. Dollars per win has 25, with Jim, the birthday boy, apparently. I'm taking Alexandra's at her word here that it's Jim's birthday, in P3. All those drivers above the potential promotion line during the playoffs. He's on 19 points total. Tied in fourth place on 22 points are Thrasher, Dirksey and Bongit, 22 overall, and then tied for 7th, Lalo Kills and T Deeds. Sully on his own, Hughes Jar also has 14 points total. Then we've got a tie for 10th, which is Sully and Saito, Sully and Aussie, with Saito on 8, Kuroskaya on 7 and Parsifal on 2 points so far. And prior to the GTD Pro Series here at this very track, a few moments ago, we had Chameleons leading the way on 82 total, with Team Universal on 60, Team Amazon on 58, Team Karate Tortoises on 57, Team America on 56, Team Pike Fitness on 52, and Team Cannonball on 36. Right, make sure that we've got everybody's everybody's liveries. Pike Fitness are here. We've got the Team America captain, Arcane. Well, this is the Captain's American livery, going full snake scales, but it is the Supra of Team Chameleon who are dressing up as different teams throughout the season because they don't want to design their own livery, it seems. Sully in 4th place. It was 4th on track, I should say. He is in the Honda NSX of the Karate Tortoises. Donald livery here with the purple bandana stripes and wheels. Then we've got Lolo Kills repping the Texans for some reason, unconnected to the Super Bowl, but repping the Texans nonetheless. Lolo Kills out there. And then we have Kuros Kai in the Mickey livery, the orange stripes and wheels of the Karate Tortoises. We actually had a shard or splinter-like livery, but this is the one I was talking about earlier. Our Canadian Aussie, repping the split livery. He's right down the middle between the Eagles and the Chiefs for the Super Bowl, so making sure that he is he's not offending anybody particularly, or maybe everybody who isn't in the Super Bowl. I'm not entirely sure NFL team politics work, whether you root for one team or whether you just want no one to have a good match. All the same. Anyway, that's how things are looking for him. The Stars and Stripes of Team America for Astonishing, but repping the Chameleon Supra. Here you can just about see, occasionally you get the odd glimpse of a Chameleon decal there. Let's just check whether qualifying has officially started. It has not yet. So I think we're doing okay for liveries. We may have Mr. Fishoda may have not been able to set his livery because he had it set up on the wrong car potentially. But he's actually managed to make it in into the pit lane yet. We're hoping to see the number 1 all red of Jim in P14 when he chooses to exit the pits. Chaotica is in the all gold Mercedes safety car. There is Mr. Fishoda, and he has gone for a very bright and colourful blink, and you'll never miss it here, livery. I look forward to seeing that out on track. We'll get some really close examination time for those liveries, of course, as soon as the safety car is released during our race. We had a great race for the GTD pros. Hopefully the GTD drivers can live up to that level of performance, but you get TDs. I haven't heard any remarks about the Ford GT here, but I think it might behave similarly to the Viper in GTD Pro. No spoilers from me, but yeah, my suspicion is it may not be the ideal livery. There's a skunk, 2 skunks on the nose of TD's car, and fun fact, I was once known as Skunk by my Beaver Scout troop, which are like they are the youngest group of Boy Scouts in the UK. So the entry point, I used to be a Beaver Scout leader, and they got to choose our woodland creature names, and I was known as Skunk. I have no idea why. And my colleague, who was co-leader, he was known as Toad. So we had some interesting ones that was quite unconventional for the Beaver Scouts at the time. So we're waiting then. Qualifying about to begin. I'm already too hot in this room. I'm going to just take off the outer jumper that I'm wearing, the hoodie, because it's winter here in the UK. It's freezing most of the time, but thanks to my PS5 being on for a couple of hours, my room is nice and warm, and you guys will know all about that. So qualifying begins. Bongit in the pits. Looks like T Deeds is the first driver out on track, so we'll hang with him until he gets into a fast lap. We'll go on board. As Lara says, yeah, the reserve driver was the one that they weren't aware of, unfortunately. If you're watching with us live today, say hello, tell me who you're supporting. I believe that very reserve driver, Mr. Fishoda, has brought some extra fans with him, as the 2 yellow scaled team leader of Team America and of the chameleons are together on track, TDs will be slightly confused to see a similar livery behind him. But of course, the Team America in GTD are split between the team leader and the regular Stars and Stripes livery. Here is TDs then, as we'll join him on board. Not the best preparation for his lap. He's got the wrong sticker on his steering wheel as well. He's left that on from Daytona, so might need to update his steering wheel sticker. And away we go then to start a flying lap at the undulating, scorching hot roller coaster of Laguna Seca. Iconic racetrack here. Two apexes for turn 1. Try and hook up both of them. And we've got a nice clear run then on the track. Nobody out in front of us. Nobody here to worry us at all as we head into turn 3. Get a little bit of washout on the tyres and run slightly wide for comfort. Through turn 4 and now into 5 on the left. Very, very understeery into what is a slightly off camber circuit. We are in the daylight at the moment, mid to late afternoon, but we will head down into sunset before our racing is done for the day. Try and find a braking point there. Very small little braking marker boards on the entry into the iconic corkscrew turn. Sequence of turns, a chicane there. And down into the left-hander. That is very low grip, but deceptively fast. Now we're into the penultimate corner of the racetrack. Pit lane entry on your left. Before then, a very, very slow, difficult entry for a very important exit, especially during qualifying, as TDs is going to come through then to set the first flying lap on the board of 24.8. How can the Team Chameleon car of Arcane do? Well, he can better that by 1.1 seconds. Here comes Sully to cross the line. He makes it 2.2 seconds away from the outright lead. Lolo Kills to cross the line, and he is slower still. Astonishing has gone third, and Maxwell second. Good lap from him. Aussie into 4th place so far, as we'll have a look at Kuros Kai. Crosses the line, gets into 8th position, and Jim next across the line then, and I'm told it's his birthday, and I hope his livery has come through for his birthday. He goes 5th, does Jim. Out in 11th, Mr. Vishoda on pole position, late to the party, and joining us here, and goes 2nd because Bongit has gone straight into 1st position then. Has got a woolly mammoth on the car. I'm not entirely sure what that's representing, but I'm sure I'll find out in due course. So Bongit with the fastest time, our Canadian, among mostly Americans. Aussie, a compatriot, and Maxwell from Thailand, but the best time there. A very good lap from Bongit, who sets the pace early doors. Chaotica's in the pits, hasn't gone out obviously at this point, and we go back to Mr. Vishoda then. Gets good positioning on the corner through there. So you'll forgive his livery after it being the wrong car initially that was designed for today's race. Some drivers saying they weren't necessarily completely aware he was racing with us today, but he was fully set up and ready to go in the wrong car. So he was very much expecting to get in. The Genesis, sorry, the Hyundai, as it is, as it comes through into GT3, and he goes faster again, just a tenth and a half of a second away from provisional pole position, as we will go back on board with Arcane here on the apex cam, the sort of passenger seat, although we're slightly centralized here from the normal position in these cars, as we try and look over his shoulder at different apex configurations. Arcane over the sausage curb there through the corner, waiting for the turn-in point. Don't want to get too much of that. Either straddle the sausage curb or stay to the outside of it. Don't hit it. Sometimes you have to aim at it to anticipate the outwash understeer. No improvement this time from Arcane. Maxwell next up. In fact, no, Maxwell has set his lap. So let's see where Thrasher is on circuit at the moment. Let's see if he is able to extract any more pace. He's got a car just in front of him, slightly distracting here for Thrasher. It's one of those karate tortoises. It's Kuros Kai in the Mickey livery here. As we go out of the final corner, and the majority of qualifying is over. Thrasher into 4th place with a personal best time just under a second away from the fastest time so far by Bongit, a 1:23.206. Next up, let's find Jim as he attacks his next lap. Hopefully this one is going to be a fast lap attempt here. To turn 2 then. Having to wait for the car to grip in slightly there, but faster than he's been before by 0.3 of a second into just sector 1, which is comprised entirely of just 2 main corners. A long middle sector here at Laguna Seca. Go back uphill again. Another blind entry, or at least blind braking point, after we've got the car well slowed down before you can even see where to point the car into the corner, and up again then to that corkscrew. A bit of overrun there on the engine on the way in. Might have just feathered the throttle slightly. I don't think that was intentional, and he's lost time in that middle sector, getting a good front end initially into the left-hander downhill, but didn't quite pay off for him. Maybe hoping that this final sector is something a bit more special. Again, getting good turn direction, change of direction out of his car as Jim goes towards the pit wall, and is slightly slower by 1/4 of a second than he had been before through here. Maxwell featured highly throughout the first sequence of laps in the Team America aping car here. Always knows his strategy inside out, does Maxwell. He spends a lot of time researching and testing the right strategy, but of course you've got to have several options in mind with strategy, because you never know quite when that safety car is going to be scheduled for until qualifying is over. Ignoring the first apex slightly, car not quite underneath Maxwell this early part of the lap, but that will hopefully keep him some tyres for the end sequence of the lap. There is our Saito setting a new personal best. That is a fastest first sector, so what on earth do I know, as Maxwell is quickest of anybody through sector 1. Hammering down through the gears. And then on the way back uphill we go once again to the left. Try and hook that up. That looked like good momentum carried through the corner that precedes the big climb uphill. Try not to stretch the track too far, Maxwell, as we end up in the middle of the track for the braking point of the corkscrew. Not abusing the curbs too much, and he's faster still. This could be a new pole position lap. He's 3.5 tenths faster than anybody has been before through the first 2 sectors of our lap. One more corner to go for him. It's looking good as Mr. Fish has gone fastest so far, beating Bongit. That was wide from Maxwell. That might have ruined it to the death. That was a car dead stopped on the racing line there for Maxwell, and he did ruin it slightly off onto a second. Then as he clears out the car and gets back on terms, Bongit though gets another fastest lap in, but it's just a shade slower than Mr. Fish, who is currently in our provisional pole position. He's finishing this one out. Arcane might have something to say as he approaches the final corner. This is his final lap, no doubt at all in my mind that's what is happening for Arcane. No one behind as we go to the checkered flag, and he is quicker than he's been, but not quick enough, unfortunately. Thrasher might have something to say, so might Aussie, as we finish out these final laps. Who is crossing the line now? Nobody who is featuring high up anyway. Thrasher stays 6th. And here comes Aussie then, who left his final lap to the very death of qualifying. Has he left it too late potentially? He's in 8th place at the moment, has been picking up some good speed in the first 2 rounds of the season so far. Let's see. What can we do? Through the final corner we go. Fairly narrow entry for him, but means he got the car hooked up at the apex, neat and tidy. Aussie goes 6th and beats Thrasher to the end, but it's Mr. Fish. It's Mr. Fishoda who gets the first position. Bongit is still on track. This is his final lap for Bongit. Will he go faster? He needed 15 thousandths of a second. He couldn't find them. Bongit then, out there, has managed to make it into second position only. And this is the Aston Martin of the Team Universal. Have I got that right? I think it is. Yes. I don't remember a Mammoth ever featuring in Team Universal in Jurassic Park. So maybe that's a bit of a joke. Zen saying well done to Maxwell on his return on a P3. But as I said, it is Bongit in second. It's Mr. Fish who's put on some medium tyres, but I imagine that is just in the pits, ready, preparing for the race. And we have Mr. Fish then off 22.952. Very nice time from him as he debuts with us here in GTD. Bongit in second place, 15 thousandths only away. Then we have Maxwell in third and Arcane in fourth place. Astonishing managed fifth place so far in qualifying, an Aussie with the Super Bowl livery in P6. Thrasher in P7 and Jim on his birthday, we're told, in the Audi R8 in 8th place, the highest placed Audi. TD's managed P9 in the official team leader of Team America livery. Then comes our Saito in the Aston Martin for the Team Universal Jurassic Park theme today. Then we have Sully and Kiros Kai with Lalo Kills. In 13th, we have 13 starters for you. The Texans livery not bringing Lalo Kills much in the way of luck today. And Chaotica will be our safety car driver. I wait to see any news on that safety car lap. I don't always get to hear it, and it's not always put in the race chat either, or if it is, I don't always manage to catch it before we go. But yes, we shall see then. The race is far from over. 1 hour we have on the clock for our fantastic GTD World Challenge. Round 3 of the championship. This is our final stop in the US before we head overseas. Lap 15. Is the safety car? No, that was what was revealed at the time for the GTD Pro. So after this, we go to the Far East. We go to Suzuka in 2 weeks' time. In 4 weeks' time, Saint-Croix in France. In 6 weeks' time, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, finishing on the 6th of April in the Circuit de Catalunya without the final Mickey Mouse chicane. So that'll be lots of fun then. Just waiting then. What have we got? Safety car, lap 23 it will be. So quite a way into the race today. That's going to be interesting. I think the drivers will be furiously trying to plan their strategy now. Will they decide to run the hard tyre, the required and ill-favoured hard tyre in the first stint? We saw one driver decide to run just one lap on the hard tyre. Such is the advantage of running the mediums today. So let's see if anybody can make option strategies work as we get going. You can put your predictions in the live chat with us, as we have Mr. Fish on the outside in the red and the blue, the orange and yellow Aston Martin of Bongit on the inside, and Maxwell returning to us on P3. We got all the lights on, and it's dropped the clutch, and go, the Genesis away like a scolded cat initially of Mr. Fish, and beautifully it was Maxwell struggling to get that car off the line, and all the qualifying effort undone there. The Karate Tortoise car of Sully looked like it was getting very, very difficult to handle on the way out of into turn 1, and he drops down to 7th position at this stage. Up at the front though, Mr. Fish away very nicely from the clean side of the grid as Bongit is now closing in on the brakes. Mr. Fish slow in, hopefully for him at least, fast out of turn 2 and deep into turn 3. We are now already into as Astonishing moves around to make a move. Lalo Kills gets the underline on T Deeds and into P9 for Lalo Kills. Where did Maxwell feed out? Eventually we got some side-to-side contact there between Saito and Kuros Kai. We perhaps need to have another look at that one. It's Jurassic Park versus Karate Tortoises. This is Kuros Kai. This is our Saito then, having a look down. Very, very early manoeuvre here. Had to duck out of the manoeuvre, and no harm, no foul particularly, I think, at this early stage. Maxwell then from 3rd down to 12th, and he's on the racing hard tyres, explaining perhaps why he struggled to get the car out of the grid box. T Deeds, Team America leader, does the hard tyre on a single lap strategy and straight into the pits, and can't wait to get rid of those tyres. Mr. Fish leads us from Bongit at the head of the field. So got Zen watching and commenting in the driver chat room that was an interesting start, as Mr. Fish is ahead of Bongit, is ahead of Arcane. The GT is slow off the line anyway, says Zen, but I think extra slow potentially, Zen, thanks to those hard tyres on board Maxwell. I don't know if Maxwell pitted on lap 1. We'll have a look at that shortly. But Aussie is in 4th place and looking good out there, not just because he's got the Super Bowl livery of the Chiefs versus the Eagles. I don't know how we are represented out there. Who wants the Chiefs to do the triple, and who wants the Eagles to be interrupting that? Then I'd love to know who your pick is for the Super Bowl as well today. Thrasher, obviously a purple time, but on lap 2 everybody gets purple. It's like they're sitting in the audience at an Oprah show. Sully's in 6th. Jim is in 7th, having moved up nicely here on his first 2 laps, rocking the same livery he had last time out for Team Cannonball. And Astonishing in the Supra. That looked like someone going wrong. That was our Saito, sadly. We'll have another look at our Saito, who is in the wars here in the first lap. Soft tyres on our Saito, so not no tyre excuses to what happened here, but just overspeed, washed out. Maybe Lalo Kills just having a problem there, caused him to be slightly distracted, but that's the issue all the same. Our Saito looking for the inside line into the corner there, into turn 2 against Maxwell, but having dropped down to P12. Maxwell is on the hard tyres and is doubling down on this starting strat. We've got T Deeds in 13th. Remember, he ran just a single lap on the hard tyres and is now going to be able to enjoy the medium tyres throughout the rest of the race. Lap 23 will be our safety car lap here at the GTD World Challenge. This is round 3 of just a 7-round championship. So we will be crowning a new champion, potentially, well, definitely by the by the start of April, as Ricky stops by and says, why am I not driving? All that practice on different things is not paying off. No, indeed, I'm not driving because this is a serious league for serious drivers, unlike the likes of me, who is definitely more of a hobbyist. I'm serious about my commentary. I feel like this is what I do best, and the driving is just for laughs. Aussie's in 4th, ahead of Thrasher and Sully. Arcane holding that 3rd place position at the moment, and they're doing very nicely on these medium tyres early doors. All these drivers, with the exception of Thrasher, who's on the soft tyres. Aussie getting out on the dirt in the Audi, and he's got 4-time Super Bowl champions on the Chiefs section there, as Thrasher is in that 5th place. Sully down in 6th, and behind him the 2nd Audi, I think, of the Cannonball entry for the Audi R8, the widest GT3 car that we have. As the number, well, he's wearing painted number 1, but Jim is number 68 in actual fact. He's got the personal best through the 2nd sector of the lap so far, and just through a bit of a tyre conservation phase here. We'll see if Jim can hang on to this personal best lap throughout the course of the of his 4th lap. He's looking good out there, and certainly the car seeming to find some performance through the final corner. There it is, by just 004. Jim with the fastest lap for himself. Back to the front then, the action at the front as Mr. Fish showed some fantastic speed, joining us from the GTD, from the GT. Get it right. The GT Sport Cup that is held at the same time as this race each Sunday. I'm not sure why they don't alternate it with the regular races, but I guess it's just more convenient this way. When Mr. Fish first got in touch with me, he actually didn't know that the GTD drivers drove at the same time as him. Such was his tunnel vision for the GT Sport League, and that's not run on the GT Sport game, because there's no longer server support for that, which first confused me when I joined Deviant. Bonget's in 2nd with Arcane in 3rd position. We'll look really closely at all these beautiful liveries that have thankfully all come through. My thanks to my friend Jaeger for sorting out exactly the cause and solution to the missing liveries issue. As Gareth Larry says, this is the first race Bonget has raced without his right indicator flashing the whole time. It must be the button for his right turn signal must be very close to another button he often presses. The Honda NSX looking good out there in the Karate Tortoises livery, not to be confused for any newcomers, Ricky Maru among you, with the fully licensed cartoon of a similar thematic basis. Lawyers have made sure that we are not to discuss those particular entities, although sponsored by Turtle Wax does make things a little bit confusing. Up ahead we've got Bonget going a little bit slowly there, and Arcane getting very close with him, as Thrasher is also right hot on the heels. Bonget slightly defensive in the Aston Martin as he runs on the approach to the corkscrew. The medium tyres starting to eat away. You can see the ABS flashing at full usage here, as the drivers are doing their level best to stay on this track and manage their tyre wear. Mr. Fish is looking like someone who is starting to feel the tyres a little bit, and there, look, front right of the car is struggling, and now it's the rear of the car struggling as well. Bonget has given up his position to Arcane. We'll see them go side by side. I wanted to catch what happened earlier in the race, but Arcane playing this one very, very cagily and slipping on by very nicely there for the Chameleon team, as he runs into 2nd place now, and looking good on the Supra handling and the tyre wear at this early stage. We've got to get all the way to lap 23 for the safety car, so they will definitely be stopping before that, maybe once, maybe more for those drivers who did those really early pit stops. Thrasher in 4th. Bonget then not looking like he's able to quite live with the pace of Arcane, or at least the balance of Arcane, as both Bonget and Mr. Fish were struggling on their previous lap there. And you can see the tyre wear lower left of your screen, much worse for Mr. Fish. So Arcane, I think, eyeing up another strong result here for today's race. Let's have a reminder then of the leaderboard. He has won both of the opening races, doing what Rue did in the previous season. Rue's not been able to drive with us in this season, but he had a fantastic winning streak, did Rue, through the previous season. Formerly known as the GT4. This is the GTDs though. They are now racing equalised machinery with the GTD Pro drivers. And Thrasher has got by Bonget. Bonget is really struggling now and has dropped 2 places in 2 laps and is now down into 4th place. Aussie, his compatriot, is closing in now, Aussie, and clearly planning to watch the Super Bowl later on as well. Fortunately, it is such a late and long show, the Super Bowl. Is really hard for us to enjoy live here in the UK. My son was begging me if he could stay up for it, but I said college the next day might be difficult. But if you stay to watch until 4 a.m. This is Bongit trying to drive on red tyres again, says Zen, after Watkins Glen. Obviously not quite learning from what happened before. Will we see drivers pitting very soon? This is very early. Oh no, he's talking about Thrasher, in fact. Yeah, Thrasher's tyres are horrible, that front right, but it's the soft tyres, so he wants to pit as soon as possible. But how does he dare go another lap on that front right? At least it's not a rear tyre, I suppose, but boy, this lap is going to be pretty difficult for Thrasher. Let's ride on board with Thrasher, shall we, and try and enjoy this race. Well, in fact, there might be a manoeuvre coming up in front, and there is a manoeuvre coming up front. Let's have a look, and that is an overtake by Arcane, just as we went to enjoy Thrasher's difficult lap here on his red tyres. Moving to the outside was Arcane, and basically scaring Mr. Fish into a late braking manoeuvre, doing a beautiful undercut there. Really enjoyed that one from Arcane. So into the lead of the race now as we wait to see Thrasher. Where is Thrasher? Well, he's dropped 2 places thanks to that worn front right and trying to go round, and I don't understand why you would do this to yourself. Anytime you can't see any white on your tyre readout in Gran Turismo, you're going to struggle to turn in the opposite direction. Here he is into the corkscrew. It's a frightening place to be with no grip. And surely now in we go. Ricky Maru says Supra go Burr. It definitely does go Burr, does the Supra. It is a very nice sounding machine, you're not wrong. We'll go trackside with him as Thrasher makes our first pit stop, thanks to using questionable strategy there, the soft tyres first off out there into the pits. So here is Arcane then in the Team Chameleon pretend livery of Team America. I try to explain this every time we go racing because we get newcomers on the stream. I'm still struggling to really understand why we're doing it, but we're doing it, so we're going to live with it throughout season 4.1. You've got to try these things, I guess. No official livery for Mr. Fish today, for reasons I explained earlier on. And now Bonga is starting to find some pace here. He's managed to go through the worst phase on the mediums, it seems, and is slowly starting to bring that heavy Aston Martin back into contention in the top 3. Mr. Fish just a third of a second away from Arcane as they run through that corkscrew. The camera angle really seems to reduce the sense of elevation change through the corkscrew. Try doing it in VR and you definitely feel every bit of the drop through there. This then is Mr. Fish heading into the pits, so he will filter out of this battle at the front of the grid, perhaps being pretty sensible and calm there. Lap 10, so if they want to one-stop this phase before the safety car, they're going to have to go onto hard tyres now, because it will be lap 23 before the safety car comes out. So if they've only managed 9 or 10 laps on the medium, they will have to go on. As Ricky says, EA should take notes of this camera work. Absolutely, it is. I've said many times, I don't think there is a better looking sim out there than Gran Turismo 7 on the PS5, and I'm not even rocking a PS5 Pro here. I'm using a fairly high-end monitor, which is flattering my view of it to a certain extent, but it is a tremendously good looking game. All the atmospherics and the trackside stuff, all the details, all the marbles, just looks the business. Aussie's in third, Sully is in fourth, just ahead of Jim now in the Audi R8 for Team Cannonball. Astonishing is in 6th place. Is that an astonishing place to be? I'm not sure. In the midfield. Maxwell 7th, regaining some places now that he's on the hard tyre, trying to one-stop this, trying to run this, I think, through to the safety car period. The only driver I've seen so far using those hard tyres, but he's in no man's land. 14 seconds away from 6th, 7 seconds to the good ahead of Lalo Kills. who's on the medium tyres in the GTR. Nismo, another good-looking, fine-looking car here. Lalo Kills up from the back at the moment, having not pitted. And now Mr. Fish is out on the hard tyres, and he's come out ahead of Thrasher, who's also gone for those hard tyres to run through the safety car period. Now they may decide to stay out, conserve a bit of fuel and pit towards the end, but I think if they get through to lap 23 for the safety car, we have a slow lap, 2 laps under that safety car, I think they can get the cars home on a full tank of fuel if they can run the safety car in a high gear throughout. Our Saito, we haven't had a close-up look at this car from the outside yet in the Aston Martin for Team Universal Studios, who are having different film franchises every race, and having a bit of fun there with Jurassic Park this time. Our Saito in 12th place, having driven the safety car for us earlier on in the GTD Pro. He's now out there and trying to stay in the hunt here for a strong result post safety car period. He was going for a big wide sweep there, and TD's just parked it, trying to get that long lazy Ford GT around this tight twisty circuit. Our Saito though does manage to get down the inside eventually on those new medium tyres. Patience paying off there for him. Floody saying he wanted lap 23 for the safety car in his race, but they got lap 15. Kuroskai in 13th in the Mickey Karate Tortoises car, running and just setting a personal best sector. And we wait for our safety car driver here, Chaotica, to grace us with his presence. Aussie, some distance now from Bongit, who can actually see a car up ahead to lap. Bongit's been really good on these tyres to this point and is closing in on Kuroskai, but Bongit able to run, I think, should pit now on this lap, on the end of lap 13, so he could comfortably run the mediums through to the safety car period. But of course he has to get the pain of the hard tyres out of the way. He has preserved his pace really nicely in the Aston Martin car number 80. I can't say that I've watched maybe the latest 2 films in the Jurassic Park franchise, but I don't remember there being a big woolly mammoth. Into the pits then comes Aussie from 2nd place. He heads in. What's the delta difference between new and used tyres, says Ricky Marie? You'll have to ask a decent driver that question. We've got some in the chat already as Astonishing comes in, so help out Ricky Maru here and let him know that delta difference across the compounds. But I think his question more is around between new and old tyres. When they die, the tyres in Gran Turismo 7 really go, as Jim blasts past Sully then, racing for position here, still on the medium tyres, still on his starting load of fuel, and the Audi slowly coming to the good here in this race. Jim leads Sully, leads Arcane. What even is GTD if Bongit and Astonishing aren't fighting like brothers every single corner of every single lap? It is a different take on GTD for sure, without that eventuality. But we also have Mr. Fish driving for us today as well for the first time, as he's going to mix it with another driver coming out of the pits. That looks like it's Bongit, so Mr. Fish is going to stay ahead, a net lead on Bongit, and then Lalo Kills is going to slot in the Texans livery, and that is nightmare scenario for Bongit, who has to now navigate on new tyres. A driver who is on old tyres here, Lalo Kills. Bongit on the hard tyres is going to really struggle to have any kind of confidence underneath him, and Mr. Fish is going to slowly be able to build a bit of a comfort gap here. But of course we're all racing to the caution period as Bongit gets underneath, does he? The Texans livery of Lalo Kills, who is definitely blocking there Bongit into the corner, not in a sort of illegal racing tactics way, but certainly in a way in which is slowing down our Aston Martin Team Universal driver. Into the corkscrew of all places goes Bongit, and then loses the car slightly, catches it nicely. Jim then pits with 9 litres of fuel remaining, and Lalo Kills goes for a trip across the dirt, and will he be able to rejoin safely enough? Look at that front right tyre That's a lap too long, I think, for Lalo Kills, who pits his Texans car at the end of his lap 14. And it doesn't seem to really be paying off to run this stint long. It is only going to hurt you, because surely you could run a 13 and a 10 lap stint towards the safety car, or just use the hard tyres as little as possible. But as soon as you start losing time, it's plain and simple, you have lost the ideal tactic of the race. Sully is 11 seconds in the lead of this race, thanks to running a very lean Honda NSX for the Karate Tortoises. 38 minutes remain on the clock. It's lap 15, so the drivers and engineers will be furiously working out how many laps we will have overall, how many minutes will remain to the drivers come the safety car lap 23, as Arcane in the Supra that goes goes brum, essentially, as Ricky was talking about. Let's listen as we go up through the gears. On Arcane Supra, you never really reach top speed in these cars at this track, and Arcane comfortably back into the lead of our race. Then, thanks to the pit stops of drivers, looks like we've all done a pit stop at least, as Mr. Fish is circulating, and he is down to 13.6 seconds away from Arcane, who his 2-race winning streak continues, it seems, certainly into this phase of the race. He wants to get those hard tyres for the used for the shortest amount of time possible, which is the middle stint of our race, and then he'll be trying to make the fuel load last until the end of the race after the safety car. Bongit pushing hard, too hard slightly by a half a second penalty, and we haven't actually pointed out the penalty marker boards and slow zone on the track yet, so you'll see those, of course, trackside yellow chevrons indicating, but if you were in any doubt, then above Bongit's car will read when that slowdown zone is approaching, and well, he's certainly going slowly through the corkscrew. Bongit is struggling with that Aston Martin through there, so you'll see on the approach to the final corner is that slow zone, I believe. No, I'm incorrect. It is actually on the main start-finish straight, which isn't really a straight here, so that is going to hurt him from now, half a second. And then you'll see Aussie start to catch him, as of course he was foot to the floor at that stage. He might be quick enough here to get an overtake going. Bonka just moves to the inside line, and this Cannonball special livery for the Super Bowl, Cannonball, can I say, of Aussie. I know that all of America and certainly one member of Canada are going to be watching the Super Bowl today. He's in that 4th place, just 0.7 of a second away from Bongit. And I think this is our closest battle we have on the field at the moment. We have a pit stop underway at the moment, very much unscheduled, I think. And the fastest lap is Mr. Fish on a 1:23.894. We got a 1:22 in GTD. That's right, Ricky. Slow zone just at the start of a long straight. It hurts the drivers, but it is a penalty, and time accrual happens throughout the race rather than post-race. And it does make things a little bit simpler from a commentary point of view. Drivers are punished immediately for their transgressions rather than accruing warnings and 3-second time penalties and such like. Arcane it was in the pits, who is getting off that hard tyre. Now he is going to essentially 3-stop this race, I think. Arcane. On go the new tyres. I suspect that those are going to be a new set of mediums, so he just ran the hard tyres on low fuel, and that's an interesting strategy. It's definitely not the popular strategy today, so it is certainly going to be curious there, and not Kuros, as Kuros Kai is I think still down in the lower order, yet still riding 12th at the moment. Mr. Fish in the lead by 5 seconds now. He was our pole sitter, debuting with us, showing impressive pace, if not selection of car and livery today. And Bongit in P2 with Aussie closing in and staying with him at the moment. I hope there are less bugs than the other sim, says Ricky. Yes, I think so. It's a mature game. It's well supported as well. We've had a PSN breakdown over the weekend, but that's not Polyphony Digital. It's not in their hands. That was a global outage. So, yeah, I do think it is a much more stable platform. Not without problems, of course. Chief among them, the small race fields. If we have a commentator and we have a safety car driver, we are limited to 14 maximum drivers racing. Not often a problem in most leagues. That is fairly well represented for most leagues. But of course, the ultimate potential ought to be a lot higher. And we can't do super long races. We can't change drivers for the endurance races either, unless you happen to have your co-driver in your own house. And I know we do have that happening in Deviant Racing League. I know that stints are performed by father and son here, as I think Mr. Fish just closing in is that team leader of Team America, T Deeds, there in P13. So he's just closing in to action and manoeuvre, and it looks like manoeuvring around is Bongit and Aussie, and that didn't look super clean. Now, did Bongit make an error heading into the corner? Let's ride on board essentially chase cam with Aussie as Bongit turns the car in, and yeah, just gets very loose and almost wipes out, but doesn't quite, Aussie. So thankfully holding on is Aussie this stage, and back to the race cam we go, as it's Aussie now ahead of Bongit. Will Aussie be able to unlock some pace now? Aussie on the hard tyres, just like Bongit and I believe Mr. Fish at this stage. We are just a few laps away from that safety car caution period, where we will enjoy a look at the liveries up close. Zen liked what he saw there from Bongit's recovery for Team Universal, and he managed to avoid wiping out Aussie and rearranging the diffuser on that Audi considerably there. It looks like the brake pedal getting a little bit long for Bongit. Hopefully that's not a mechanical issue developing for him in his rig cockpit. We'll see if anything develops from that. And then Aussie's turn to go off track and spin and off into the barrier and damage the front right and front splitter, unfortunately, and that was fairly dramatic. It's the hard tyres, but I would have thought that they would be in those into a good phase on the hard tyres, at least getting some grip. But suddenly it looks like the sun setting, I think, is the cause here, as the track is cooling. And Floody says that's the Audi we all know and love. He was just finished praising Aussie for keeping his foot in with that error from Bongit, but then Aussie going off track, unfortunately, and picking up some temporary damage. The damage has cleared now. He's been able to run through. Going from medium to hard can be tough. Got to adjust your timing, says Zen. Astonishing. Appears to be manoeuvring the car around a little bit, I think possibly with a little bit of lag on the car, but heading into the pit lane on lap 20. Another confusing strategy for me. He wasn't out of fuel and he wasn't out of tyres, so I'm a little bit confused by that one. Maybe just a really short hard tyre stint here coming for him. Of course, the game will handle any penalties if the drivers don't take the tyres that they're required to. But Jim, racing on his birthday, is in that P4 at this stage, and looking pretty good right now. Working through the hard tyre stint, we'll be able to run the mediums through to a finish once he pits one more time, I feel. And lots of drivers going wide through that turn 3. I think this is the sunset effect of the cooling temperatures, just really catching them out. It's a slightly tricky corner, but really shouldn't be causing the kind of issues that it appears to be causing for our drivers here. Now we've got Sully and Arcane fighting over 6th place. Arcane taking that off-schedule pit stop, going for the soft tyre stint, so going for a fastest lap attempt, I think. and so far managing a 127 on those soft tyres, but he's also filled the car with fuel. I'm confused about that. If you're going for a fastest lap attempt, do you not low fuel the car? Here he goes though. It's looking good at the moment. That's a purple sector 2, and just a couple of corners left to go then on this one. So the safety car warming up, getting ready to come out, and hopefully we'll avoid a penalty where we all sort of come to a dead stop on the start-finish line, thanks to pit lane entry or exit penalties. And there is a new fastest lap for Arcane, so he got what he came for, and now I presume we'll head into the pits. But will that time actually be beaten at the end of our race? This is likely to be the best time for it, I imagine, because obviously the field will close up again, and then drivers will be racing to a finish. Astonishing, managing to catch a little bit of dirt on the way out of the final corner. It's going to hurt his lap time there. Kiros Kai is in 10th place. We've got our Saito down in 11th in the matte Jurassic Park livery. Lolo Kill's just been off circuit, so check that out again. Then in the Texans livery, this is the corkscrew, so off we go, off the circuit, through there. I think that was all she wrote, or did he off? No, second load of gravel. That Nismo air intakes is going to be, he'll be crawling around underneath that one. When I went did some trackside commentary, I saw a rookie driver whose mechanics were forcing him to pick all the gravel out of his own air intakes as penance for going off circuit. Lalo Kills versus T-Deeds continues then, and the Texans livery on the Nismo on the hard tyres, no match for T-Deeds on the mediums in the Ford GT. So T-Deeds enjoying a moment out there on the dirt. I thought he was going to get undercut, but Lalo Kills follows him and has managed to presumably clog up his diffuser now, and might get some stones in his brake calipers if he's not too careful. Chaotica is out of the pit lane. No penalties on Chaotica's car, and we are entering our full course caution period, and we get to take a really nice close look at these liveries. I'm intrigued as to these green end plates stickers that are sort of covering certain aspects of the stickers. This is a default livery, I think, or at least a non-official livery here for the Genesis, thanks to just picking the wrong car, unfortunately, for Mr. Fish. But balance of performance is on, so shouldn't give him too much of an edge. Then you've got the questionable cartoon Jurassic Park woolly mammoth livery of Bongit here in the Aston Martin. Some claws on the bonnet, on the hood. It's a Hyundai. You can't make it look good, says Gareth. Then you've got our Eagles or Kansas City Chiefs livery for the Super Bowl here with Aussie. So I haven't heard anybody's pick just yet. That's Manny from Ice Age, says Ricky. It's a good shout, but it's supposed to be Team Universal for our Jurassic Park movie franchise. Well, Jim has gone full Stars and Stripes Evil Knievel race gear in through the cockpit there, through the window you can see, and the number 1, nice little Cannonball livery. Not quite as many stickers as his GTD Pro colleagues, but one of them is very well appreciated. The Webbo sticker on there. We've got the Pike Fitness with Knuckles on the hood here of the Nismo for Team Pike Fitness, and then of course we're well used to the Donald livery for the Karate Tortoises here. Ice Age is Warner Brothers, says Zen. Disqualified. Then we've got Team America here. I don't know if Zen knew that off the top of his head or he had to go research. This is Maxwell in the Stars and Stripes of Team America for the Ford GT. No doubt about their national affiliation. And then, causing some doubt, is the chameleon livery of the Stars and Stripes Team America, as you can see there on the Supra, of Astonishing. Likewise, the Chameleon Team America copy of the team leader livery. This is Arcane and Aussie. We've been through Bongit, Mr. Fish, we've been through these guys. This is the official Team America livery, and they've just made contact under the safety car as T-Deeds trying to catch back the safety car Snake, and the Sneck, who doesn't want to be stepped on, manages to completely balls that up. I don't know what else to say about that. I was looking for a better way of phrasing that one, but unfortunately, no. That is a mess, unfortunately, from T-Deeds. Not one for his personal highlight reel. Here's the Mickey livery. What is going on with our drivers today? They're trying to catch the safety car, and they are stuffing up everywhere. This is the one I wanted to see. This is the Jurassic Park livery with the scratched up bullet holes, the matte finish. No gods, no masters on the rear. I don't remember that from Jurassic Park, but I do thank them for the Webbo commentary sticker on the car as well. Chaotica's in the pits. Jim is our new leader, and we are getting ready to go racing. That's nice, Saito, says Zen, with that Jurassic Park livery. And we are green for the remainder of our race. 23 minutes on the clock. We've got hard tyres on Jim's car. We've got hard tyres on Thrasher's car. We've got hard tyres on Sully's car. And then the drivers who have hoped to pit will be coming up through soon. Maxwell in fourth is still on the medium tyres and hasn't pitted recently. Astonishing flies on by, and Maxwell gets hit and punted off, I think possibly by Arcane, and he spins, and then it's all going wrong, unfortunately, in the cloud of dirt that comes out through the corner. This is Maxwell. Then as he approaches the corner, he takes the inside line. He's on worn tyres, and then what happens? It was Arcane. Well, no, Maxwell had a problem, hit Astonishing. Arcane hit Maxwell, trying to avoid trouble, and then spearing across the racetrack goes Maxwell in the Evel Knievel livery. I should mention that as well. But unfortunately, Maxwell down then to 9th position on his return to racing, and the LED lights are visible through those holes in the Ford GT. And Ricky liking the look at the car, at the Ford GT. I think Ricky's first race he's watching here of GTD racing in Gran Turismo 7, and I think enjoying it as the owner and runner of the League of Destruction F1 24 League, and recent retiree from Simracing. Jim, Thrasher, and Sully there. Team Chameleon with the team fatality, says Glovas. Was a bit of a cooperative effort, wasn't it, you have to say, but maybe Maxwell caused the incident, possibly. I don't know. Let me know what you think, but he did kind of lean on Astonishing and then got dealt with quite abruptly, shall we say. This is Astonishing. He's recently pitted. He's recently fueled up. Bowling pin effect, says Zen. Racing incident, is that consensus? I like what they've done there with the Toyota badge on the rear with the... Can you check that out? The Toyota symbol with the chameleon tails. Nice little effect there on the back. Beautiful livery, says Larry. It was just unfortunate, he says Gareth Larry. So we're going to have to get to the bottom of why Gareth goes by Larry as well. Or why does he not change his YouTube handle to Larry? But it's not the first time I've had drivers who are hiding their identity by obfuscating and creating multiple names just to confuse me, I think. Bongit featured so heavily earlier on, but is down in that 7th position now in the Aston Martin. And is this unrecoverable? Well, Mr. Fish and Aussie have all pitted and will hope to get to the end, I think. If we think this is awesome, wait till Suzuka, says Floody. That is going to be a beast of a track for these drivers to get around. It's been an all-USA first 3 rounds of the season, and then we go to the Far East and then Europe for the halfway point and the second half of the season. So they've not had to travel far from home for these rounds of our drivers. Majority of them anyway. Maxwell's always far from home, and Bongit off the circuit, unfortunately. Let's try and see what happened to Bongit on board with him. Is this just another spill? I don't think he was forced into it. There's nobody around. Turning in. The Aston Martin won't turn for him. and he successfully avoids one barrier and successfully finds another barrier, unfortunately, on the opposite side of the track. That was a rough one for Bongit. Damage on the front splitter for him. Gareth says, I've got a middle name with L that I never told a friend. I told him it was insanely obscure and I'd give him 1,000 guesses and he'd never get it. Well, we can all play that game, right? Been my nickname for 25 years, says Larry. They're super obscure. So we're going to have to try and guess what this L name is. Old Bongit is having an absolute nightmare at the moment. Just can't get any performance out of the car. I don't know what's happening. He was so hooked up earlier on, and these are the medium tyres as well. He's fat with fuel, but I'm struggling. The damage is no longer, thankfully for him. It has eased off. Glover saying Leopold. That's a good shout. That's a good shout. Is it Lloyd, says Danny. If it is super obscure. Lalo Kills off the circuit as pressured by T Deeds. Lalo Kills, unfortunately, drops down to 11th place. Drops down, does he, to 12th as Giros Guy has a little nibble on the inside. So Laslet. Yeah, no one was guessing that. You're absolutely right, Gareth. My parents made that choice to name a human being that. Like a knight from the round table or something. Like Lancelot. I think Webbo's government name is Webbo Commentary. No, my regular name is very boring and very easy to guess from my nickname. So there you go. And if you've watched me on channels like RaceSpot or Williams Esports, it's that they won't use Webbo, even though everybody calls me it. So I have to use my government name on there. Mr. Fish, super wide then on the way into turn one, looking for the cutback, leaving the door open to Aussie potentially. Jim still out there, hasn't pitted yet, and Aussie just hoping he can hang on to this car with 17 minutes on the clock. Matthew Glover says you can never guess his name. I shouldn't have said that, really, should I, about college earlier on. Yeah, that always gets people when they think I have a college age child. This is college in the UK, so it's high school, really. It's the final 2 years of high school, so I have two of them actually. Aussie down the inside, nice manoeuvre against Mr. Fish that time. Mr. Fish just capitalising on his off-track moment. So this was him going for a move on Sully. It didn't pay off. That made him wash out to the outside. He put two tyres out on the dirt, and Aussie didn't need a second invitation to go for it, and managing to claim that one beautifully. I think Webber was in his 20s. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. As my sons absolutely hate the fact that everybody thinks I'm younger than I actually am. They think I'm ancient. So there you go, Sully. This is the battle for second position as Mr. Fish going down the inside. We go, Mr. Fish down to the inside of turn one, and Sully. That took a lot of work for Mr. Fish to get there, and he finally did, and beautifully through. None of Mr. Fish's fans have shouted up in the live chat, so you'll have to drop a comment post-race on the video. I don't think there will be many fans of Mr. Fish among the driver cohort today, thanks to making us wait, and not necessarily having chosen the right car or received the right instruction or notified the right people. But it's easily done when you're guesting there. Bongit left the race, says Gareth, unfortunately. Thanks for the info. I'm not surprised. I imagine he's off to go and scream into a pillow or something. Sully in third, Aussie in fourth. That's Mr. Fish ahead, but was catching a driver there. Then you can see Astonishing up in the lead. Still needs to make a final pit stop. Astonishing can't get home with 15 minutes to go on that little tyre grip and that little fuel as well. There goes Mr. Fish. Was he fit off and spin out? I forget already. Yeah, he was definitely having a few moments, plural, was Bongit. Unfortunately, just couldn't seem to get that Aston Martin turned into the corners in this latter part of the race. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm reaching for excuses for him, but I'm struggling to come up with any at this stage. Kiros Kai is in sixth. with Arcane in 5th, and Lalo Kills in 7th place. Didn't look good out there earlier on, Lalo, but is managing to bring this car in his position. Into the pits we go, and that's probably why he was surprising me by his position, just making his final pit stop. Now this is an interesting one for Saito. He's in P9 with 14 minutes to go, but I think he can get home on the fuel at least. So maybe he's the first of our drivers. No, Jim is probably the first of our drivers who can get home on his fuel count. He's got 3/4 of a tank of fuel remaining, so 75 litres. Gareth saying that Mr. Fish is a sport driver. Wasn't super fast, but he's worked really hard. Yeah, he was asking me if I had time to commentate on the GT Sport League live, and I was like, no, I do this instead. Oh dear, Saito off. That looked like a bit of a compound error there. He was super wide coming out of the previous corner, turns in, doesn't get any performance on the car. Did he get a little bit of help going in from Thrasher into the next corner? Well, it was more than a little help, wasn't it? He tried to overcome that manoeuvre, but it just, there was no way through, sadly. And our Saito, who was looking good for a performance then, let Webbo Jr. watch the Super Bowl. Says Globus. I should really, he's an Eagles fan, but I'm just bitter because my team's not in the final. We have previously got up really early to watch it. Bongit got disconnected, says Danny. Info from the inside. Pit lane reporting from Danny. Bongit got disconnected, unfortunately. Sully's in the pits, getting rid of those hard tyres now. And I think going on to a new set of mediums, he is. Birds fans aren't allowed here, says Glovas, who is rocking Ohio State, but clearly pulling for... Oh, nice move from Mr. Fish for the lead on the way into the corkscrew. Wow, that definitely needs a second watch there. That was astonishing out of shape. That did help a little bit as Lalo Kills, a little bit distant toe coming, but they were fully alongside one another. This is not an easy place to break. Lalo Kills very kind to the other drivers on the way through, and astonishing passed by Mr. Fish for the lead of our race. What a great move from him. Really enjoyed that one from Mr. Fish, who has shown fantastic speed out there in the Hyundai, and Glovas appreciating that one too. Mr. Fish, as Aussie pits, Arcane is promoted into 2nd place. Remember, on a 2-race winning streak, Arcane, and hoping to try and get this car home, this Supra home, which is better on the fuel usage than most cars. But there you go. Glover says, never mind, not going to carry on with that hashtag, but Zen enjoyed that one too. So round of applause there from Mr. Fish from our live audience, as Jim has fueled, has gone in the pits for tyres, is in 5th right now. Look at this pit lane exit for the drivers, for Astonishing and for Aussie here, and they get the inside line into the next corner. Relative to Jim, who will get on the power a little bit earlier. They are absolutely nose to tail, Aussie and Astonishing, and Aussie has managed to undercut Astonishing. It was in front of him. So brilliant stuff, and he's short of, no, Astonishing short of fueled. How did Aussie manage to do that? And unless Astonishing had a second off there and was passed on the way in. A few drivers pitting one more time. Anyone's race with 10.5 minutes to go, says Zen. It'll be tight for fuel with Arcane. Don't know if he'll make it with the tyres. It'll be tight or it'll be right. I think he said it'll be right for tyres. 35% sure no one was going to die in that rejoin, said Gareth. Yeah, it did look really, really hairy. Looks like they're ghosted slightly in the pit lane, but both drivers just have their foot pinned to the bulkhead regardless. Mr. Fish now pits from the lead of the race, so that means Arcane is promoted. Mr. Fish doesn't need a lot on the car to get through to a finish, but he has the pace. Can he get back onto the podium as Astonishing waves around in the mirrors of Aussie? No way through for him in P5. Just at the moment, Astonishing on the right on the tail of this Audi as Mr. Fish is in pit lane. Will he come out on soft tyres potentially? No, he's going to run 9.5 minutes on the medium tyres, and he's just got out in front of Jim. That is absolutely golden for Mr. Fish. Wow, Fantastic pit stop sequence for him. Should have plenty of fuel on board, but he has now a 26-second deficit to Arcane, who has been able to pull fantastic strategies so far this season. Is it going to be another one? Can he make it 3 races on the bounce, as Mr. Fish is having to push very hard on these new tyres, but he can lean on them and really go to work now. Jim has had a bit of a slow burner of a race, but in 3rd position, Aussie and Astonishing are probably going to do themselves out of a podium contention here as they continue to battle. That's Astonishing all over the road on the and off it by enough to get a penalty there. I still have to commentate another time today. You guys are destroying my voice again, and Aussie goes wide on the way out of the penultimate corner, unfortunately, and that's another problem then. It was just getting a breather from Astonishing, perhaps just settling into chasing down Jim here, and missed, I think. But no, he got the apex. He got too much apex through the penultimate corner and allowed Astonishing through. They're still going to be nose to tail. In fact, he got back past Astonishing thanks to that penalty. So they are just going to continually ebb and flow between the two of them and try and get this to a finish here. It is Arcane leading Mr. Fish by 24.5 seconds. My word, that's dropped down. Now that Arcane is limping home on the fuel and the tyres, this is going to be a slow old finish for Arcane if he's going to try and make this without a pit stop. And you've got to think that has to be his only real move here to get the win. Mr. Fish just needs to rein in these laps. That's a 26.8 for Mr. Fish last lap out. 7 minutes with 25% fuel, says Glovas, as Arcane 24 seconds in the lead. What was that last lap for Arcane? He has the fastest on the board, a 1:23.6. It was a penalised lap for Arcane, who now pits. Into the pits comes Arcane, so that decides that one. So Mr. Fish will resume the lead of the race, and Jim has been the quiet one in this race and has got up to 2nd position in the Stars and Stripes helmet here as Jim for his birthday. 4 minutes is about 3 laps, says Preston. Danny hot with those interviews still, as Aussie holds the inside line against Astonishing on the way in. Behind these guys, we've got some guys coming out of the pits. We've also then got Sully in 6th. We've got Thrasher in 7th. Sully, plenty of tyre and fuel performance left in the car. Arcane comes out in 5th place. He's gone for the soft tyres and half a tank of fuel. A splash of fuel, a change to the softest compound of tyre, and Arcane is gunning for a podium, but I think the win might be out of reach. 10.6 seconds away from the win, and more importantly than that, there are 4 cars between himself and that win. That 60+ second pit is brutal, says Floody. Sully with a fantastic drive, except in qualifying perhaps, from Gareth points out there, but Arcane there, right there, with a strong drive to a finish. You'll have incredible pace. He's already got the fastest lap of the race, but is it going to be too big a deficit? 10.3 seconds with about 3 and a tiny bit laps left to run in this race. That's quite a difference he's going to have to make up over the final few portions of the race and pass multiple cars before getting back on the podium. Here is Sully in that Honda NSX, ahead of Thrasher in the Nismo. Mean old looking car, that Nismo, but it's quite tall, and that probably hurts it a little bit. Come on, Deeds, squeak up a spot or two, says Floody. Here is Deeds in P8, driving an undamaged Ford GT at this time. Medium tyres, not a huge amount of fuel remaining. In 8th place then comes Kuroskai in 9th. Maxwell is intent on his return to Deviant Racing League. It's quite a baptism. Laguna, Seca and a Ford GT at sunset, and then our Saito with the rusty battle-scarred Jurassic Park livery here in P11. We've got our final runner is Lalo Kills in 12th in the Texans livery, and off track again. He won't thank me for finding that moment. but a snap of oversteer on the rejoin, and he's back. It's Mr. Fish then, 3 seconds in the lead, ahead of Jim, as we build towards a stunning finish of this race. Mr. Fish coming through to start what would be, I think, his 2 laps from the finish lap, his anti-penultimate lap. So I think still another 2 to go. And Jim across the line then, and the 4-minute countdown begins. Astonishing and Aussie continue to battle like crazy here between these two. Zen says 3 more. Exactly. That is a much easier way of phrasing what I was struggling to say, as Astonishing is in 4th. Lalo Kill showing us how much of a 2-way driver he is. 4th last week, and he is capable of bringing up the rear as well. Damning with faint praise, and I would expect nothing less from Larry there. Astonishing in 4th place, Aussie in 3rd. Behind them, Arcane. What was that last lap for Arcane? The watcher count keeps changing here and blocking my view of the previous laps, but it was the fastest so far, a 1:23.111 from Arcane. That is not as quick as you would expect as the GTD Pros, as Astonishing and Aussie rubbing wheel arches on the way through up into the corkscrew. Once again, Astonishing over the line. Will he get a penalty, or has he managed to slow the car through there? He's avoided the penalty. He's given the place back because he was off track and had to feather the throttle to avoid a track speeding offline penalty. Zen says penalty for that. I think he managed to mitigate it by losing time overall. There is a little bit you can do about it. Zen can't believe it. And Arcane now has teammate in front of him in the Chameleon team. Arcane will be furiously on the radio. And Astonishing, Arcane is faster than you is going to be the instruction, but Astonishing wants to make the move here on Aussie. Is Astonishing just going to wipe out Aussie and let them go through? That green is difficult. It's difficult to watch here for Floody. I'll put that as politely as I can. Just repeating his comment as Arcane. Surely Astonishing is going to give up this position. Arcane is right behind him, but Astonishing blocks him in another corner. Now that is not green. That is not good team racing, is it? Frankly, that's not how these drivers would want to be racing with teammates. I think they're in a chat together. They're in a live chat here, a voice channel in Discord. And here we go again, says Glover, says Arcane tries to get by past Astonishing, finally does so and sneaks around the outside of Aussie, and that was a really big Code Brown moment as Aussie almost nerfs it, and it does nerf Arcane off the circuit there that time. And where is Arcane going to rejoin? Surely behind the two of them. That's we'll try and capture all of that. Now Astonishing and Aussie are not playing nicely together. Aussie probably didn't see Arcane coming, but he definitely saw him on the approach into this corner as he pushes him very, very wide. Both drivers off the dirt to different degrees, and Arcane rejoins then, and Astonishing's got all the work back to do once again. And Arcane is going to be furious because there went a podium begging with just less than a minute remaining on the clock. That is the start of the lap with Mr. Fish. We'll see if he manages to get home here before the lap counter goes, but Floody wasn't enjoying that. Zen says yikes, wouldn't want to be in that debrief surely, as Mr. Fish is going to overtake Lalo Kills here, I think, on this possibly final lap here. GTD needs to clean it up a little bit, says Zen. Teammates need to race like teammates a little bit, I think, is one of the things we need to talk about. This is Laguna Seca. I think this is not the best representative track for driving standards. Arcane has got by past Astonishing, who might be feeling a little bit shy here. No, Mr. Fish is going to come through, so it will be now the final corner, because the clock has gone dead. Mr. Fish joins us from GT Sport and immediately blitzes the field and wins at Laguna Seca. Jim's across the line in second on his birthday, will be very happy. Aussie will hold off Arcane to the line and be super happy about that, I imagine. Arcane in fourth, Astonishing in fifth place, and there goes Sully into sixth. Thrasher goes through into seventh place. TD's popular driver among the watching audience, at least so far. Grats, Mr. Fish, says Zen. I think there might be questions about Aussie's driving tactics as Kuraskai almost wipes out T-Deeds in the final couple of corners here. T-Deeds will have been watching that happen in his mirrors and sweating a little bit as T-Deeds will cross over the line in 8th and Kuraskai in 9th. This looks like our Saito and Maxwell doing exactly the same thing to a finish. Our Saito goes through. Maxwell holds on to 11th. Just do or die movements on the final lap, I think, at this point. Saito into 10th. Maxwell 11th. Lando Kills has already finished. And it is all about our new driver here for the finish. It's Mr. Fish who completes a famous victory here on his debut at GTD. Brilliant stuff. Deeds in 8th with a one hard stop, says Floody. There is Mr. Deeds. Give it the beans, says his overalls, and he's absolutely right. So Mr. Fish with the win. An almost identical finish time to the GTD pros, finishing 2.8 ahead of Jim. Aussie in 3rd, and Arcane got the fastest lap but couldn't extract the win after contact with teammate and Aussie in the closing laps. Astonishing finish behind his teammate Arcane, and Sully in 6th, Thrasher in 7th, and T-Deeds in 8th place. Kuroskai in 9th, our Saito in 10th. Maxwell returns to us and finishes 11th, with Lolo Kills in 12th. Chaotica in 13th. Was the safety car driver who beat Bonga in the end. The streak is over. Long live the king. Mr. Fish is now on top. Arcane's winning streak comes to an abrupt end with a different strategy, bringing it home first and 4th. But he can, of course, drop his worst score. So that is it from Deviant today. Join us in about an hour's time for the next race on the channel. But from me, Webbo from Deviant Racing League's GTD Season 4.1, Round 3. Thanks so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next race day.